Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Leah. I'm from Alzani, and I post videos every week. I try to speak about all kind of issues really. I'm doing a postgrad on art history and art studies, so I tend to use my knowledge on that. I do book reviews, so I asked you guys last week to send me messages, to tweet me on Twitter, and to comment in the comment section of last week's video to choose a book for this week. And so the result is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep from Philip K. Dick. And so I read the book, and so that's what we're going to speak about today. So first, I'm going to give you a little summary of the book. So the book is the story of Rick, this bounty hunter who lives on Earth after World War Terminus. So bounty hunter, what is that? Well, it's a person on Earth whose job is to they call it retire. Basically to hunt and kill androids. Androids are produced on Mars, and so in the story, androids escaped Mars and fled and arrived on Earth, and so Rick has to find them and kill them because they are perceived as a threat to society and to humanity in general. This book approaches really interesting themes. It speaks about the boundaries between humans and androids. It touches to consciousness, intelligence, empathy, all of these characteristics that can define or not what lives and what doesn't, what is human and what is not. And it also touches a lot to this boundary between the real and the fictional. Sometimes we don't really know what is happening, who is an android, who is not. And so this book was really interesting to read, I think. And I really wanted to make this week's video special by getting some other opinions, because obviously, being from Alzani, I read that book in my own mindset, and I am aware that on other planets some people might think differently. And so for this week, a surprise for you guys, this week I got the CEO, can you imagine that, of Powell Corporation to give us a little interview of what life is like on Mars, and basically as at the head of a company manufacturing androids. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself, and after that we'll have the opportunity to ask him some questions, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. So Nico, please welcome, and yeah, tell us a bit about yourself.
Um, good afternoon, Leah, and to all your followers too. Thank you for having me. I think it's really important that we have these discussions and these debates because we're discussing really important things. My corporation has been certainly severely affected by the publication of this book, so I'm very excited to have a chance to talk about it. Personally, I was born in Mars, raised here. My family has as you all know, has an important past in producing androids, and we've been the most important manufacturer during the colonization years. So I'm here and I'm ready to talk.
Very much for that, Nico. So I asked my followers to ask you guys to send me some questions on the book and on what we could get out of it, which ideas and everything. Um, and you guys did a great job at sending me loads of questions on Twitter, Instagram, etc. So I took some of them and I thought we could discuss them with Nico and give our both our opinion. So the first question that I have here is from Rory. Thank you, Rory. And the question is, how accurate is the book's representation of reality, highlighting the fact that a lot of people are drawing parallels between the Rosen Association in the book and your corporation. So, yeah, a lot of people just think that the Pearl Corporation inspired the Rosen Association, and I wanted to ask you what you think of that, Nico.
Well, I'm glad you asked because here from the Powell Corporation, we're really worried at people making this comparison, and we just wanted to highlight that although the book does depict some realities of what life is like on Earth currently, it is a work of fiction. The Rosen Association does not exist. It has no links to the Powell Corporation, and we're frankly slightly insulted that people are making this comparison. We work in a completely different way, in a completely transparent way, and we're working towards a better future
Is
with
it
all of society.
is it not true though that some androids have escaped Mars before and fled on Earth?
Uh, yes, there have been instances, but this is a very small minority of cases and have been appropriately dealt with by the legal authorities in Earth.
So how how far then do you think the representation in the book is from reality if um if these kind of things actually happen even with our corporation?
Well, again, the book is fiction, okay, and what the book is trying to imply is that our tests are not completely efficient when assessing androids and humans. It tries to create it tries to blur the lines between what is android, what is human, and what I've come here to assure people is that our tests are 100% efficient. We can completely test androids to see that they lack empathy, therefore are androids, therefore should be retired if they've escaped.
Well, that's an amazing transition for second question, which comes out from Maria, and the question is the Von Kamp's test actually used and does it work? So Nico, I am gonna let you go first on that one as a producer of Androids. Do you use the Van Voigtkamp service test?
So we're not the ones to use it directly. We provide certain. We make it easy for the law enforcement to use it. We give them examples. We give them all the beta tests of our new androids. But it is the law enforcement that then chooses what test to use and how to separate androids from humans.
So if I understood it well, the test is based on empathy, is it? Can
Uh,
you can you tell us a bit more about that? About how you draw the line between humans and androids to empathy?
okay, so how the test works, as I understand it, is it's like a polygraph test. It tests certain reactions in the human body, like the pupil dilation, the cardiac rhythm, all sorts of things that we can't control and that are caused involuntarily by our own systems. So, for example, you present the patient or the person who's being tested with a situation, say a situation of absolute fear, and you see how these involuntary responses work. And the way it works for humans is these reactions are always quite similar. its absolute fear would trigger certain things within your system that the test would pick up on. Whereas androids who don't have, who are not designed to have these feelings of, say, fear, anxiety, empathy, um, well, they simply do not record these reactions at all.
So does that mean that all humans have empathy and all androids have no empathy? Because if I may, psychopaths who are supposedly still considered as humans show a clear lack of empathy, though they're not machines. They're not. We don't call them machines the way we call androids machines, do we?
Well, I mean, obviously, that is a sort of legal loophole that law enforcement has to get around. But yes, it has been found that certain mental disabilities, if you will, have led the human to react in similar ways that androids would in these tests. But let me highlight that this is a minority.
Why empathy though? I mean, it is clear that that this test calls for failure, that some people might differ from what we consider as the norm. Um, so why would it define human being as being able to empathize so much?
Well, we think it's the key human characteristic. Really, we've developed androids to such a level of intelligence and awareness that the only like viable way to separate them has been through empathy and other kind of inherent feelings such as fear or anxiety, as I mentioned before. But it ultimately we face a challenge here where our consumers want androids to be almost as human as possible so that they can take on more and more responsibilities, whereas at the same time we need it there to be a very clear distinction between what it is to be a human and what it is to be an android.
What if let's say you meet an android who is able to feel empathy? What How would you describe that android then? Would it be an android? Would it be a human? Um, how did it work? How did it work when we spend so much time drawing these boundaries? Um, Boundaries can always be broken and blurred.
Well, to my knowledge, these androids do not exist. Was it? I'm gonna entertain you here by accepting the what if, and simply I would say this android would live the same way that a human would essentially. But anyway, it's too dangerous a game to play. I feel to play with these questions.
I mean, if I go from the book, some of the androids who escape Mars are quite able to show the same kind of emotional characteristics as humans can. Um, some of them empathize through music. Some of them just able to show emotional capabilities that some people wouldn't think they are able to. Do you think just the fictional side of the book?
Well, I was gonna stop you right there because yes, essentially this is what the author's trying to make interesting out of something that is simply not real. There simply does not exist these blurring of lines. Androids are very distinct from human beings. They cannot empathize. They cannot feel these innate natural reactions that humans possess. To my knowledge.
I mean, something I want to say here is, I'm sorry, but I think the vodka test is um, based on some questions relating to animals and animals cruelty. Am I right? Well, I feel like humans' relationship to animals can differ. For example, from my knowledge of us and our studies, um, before World War terminus, cultures would vary a lot according to the region and us, and not all cultures accorded um, the same empathy to the same animals. And so, what what is empathy? Like, is how can how can that be the sole definition of a human being when it will be so relative to the culture and to things, well, as I said, psychopathy or other mental differences.
Well, let me just say, obviously, empathy is the best way that we have of measuring this simply. And yes, you're right that, for example, the animal treatment was different culturally, historically, but it is the best way that we have currently, in the sense that Earth now has learned how to value animals in a hugely respectful manner, and in a way in which any mention of animal cruelty will upset any person inhabiting Earth right now. That is why we have chosen them for the tests, for the empathy tests, because they've proven so effective. Obviously, there are limitations to this, but in terms of the way that we produce androids, this has brought no changes.
Thank you. Um, I think it is fair to say that we're probably not going to come to an agreement anytime soon, though I am enjoying this discussion. So I wanted to ask you, what did you think of the book?
Oh, well, I actually really enjoyed it for what it is, a great work of fiction. It tells a very exciting story with some extremely entertaining pop culture references. Shout out to my favourite Andy, Buster Friendly. I was particularly fascinated, however, by the character John Isidore, perhaps because of how alien that type of existence seems to me. I thought it immensely poignant, a man sentenced to solitude like that, and was frankly disheartened to see that people seemed more interested in the fate of the androids than that of a living human being. That being said, I found the book delved deeply into uncertainty and made me think quite carefully about things that I had previously counted on as life's truths. Ultimately, however, I think I understood that the truth is what we want it to be, and I can't think of any positive consequences out of blurring the lines between human and android. We see in the book how much confusion and chaos it causes, and how a strong and stable man like Rick is progressively broken down throughout the novel to become someone who isn't even fit to fulfill his role in society anymore. Therefore, I've definitely read a clear message in the book, or even a clear warning. The author warns us, if you start playing around with the concretely defined boundaries and roles, you are unleashing a truly scary and dangerous force that could immensely deteriorate our social fabric. That which holds us together and makes us work towards a better future.
Well, so personally, I think this book reveals a lot on the state of society right now. I am lucky enough to be from a planet where androids are assimilated and treated equally to humans, but I am aware that this is not the case everywhere in the universe, and this book exposes the oppression of androids on Mars and Earth. For that, I've enjoyed how the book doesn't hide from hard truths, such as the existence of bounty hunters. I think it says more about some humans than it does about androids. Humans have, for centuries, managed to position themselves at the top of the food chain, and with that, as superior beings, they have tried to prove their superiority through different characteristics over time, such as language, anatomy, intelligence, and now empathy. They cannot help but identify themselves by othering others, and I think this book reveals a lot how human hegemonic narratives have pushed this agenda in order to exclude androids on the basis of empathy. I think my favorite part of the book is the moment shared by Rick and Rachel in the hotel room, where we can actually see that Rick has empathy for Rachel and Rachel has empathy for Pris, and this creates a sense of uncertainty at this boundary they spend so much time establishing and this world they created. However, though, I think the book lacks some perspective in the sense that the author only speaks about Earth and not other planets where the situation might be different.
So I've listened carefully to what you have to say, and I think I've kind of come to recognize the issue that divides us. For you, are androids alive?
Well, yeah, I think androids are alive. I think the book implicitly shows that as well. Take any of the 8 androids who escaped Mars. They escaped because they were in search of a better life,
Fictional.
of freedom. They also have an inherent will to live. Polokov might be the best example. He tried everything not to get caught and was ready to defend himself when found. And even if the androids sometimes resign themselves to die, humans, well, they do the same when they think there's no more hope. I think that it's too easy to claim that androids are not alive because they are artificially created. Characteristics defining living things go beyond their creation.
Look, what you don't understand, I see these androids being churned out in our factories day in, day out. I'm flattered when people see such sophistication in these machines that they believe them to be truly alive, like a human or an animal. But the truth of the matter is, they are being produced by purely mechanical procedures. Their pasts are fake, their expressions are previously programmed. Yes, our engineers have achieved an amazing level of resemblance to humans in our latest version of Android, but they remain, and I must insist upon this, machines. Machines built to do our bidding, no more. As to the Polakov story, behind which so many people have rallied, I simply remind people it is fiction, bearing no semblance to the way our androids have been known to act. Our androids have a built-in self-defense mechanism which is purely practical, just so that they will stay away from danger and harm. But that is it. They cannot possess a willingness to live, as they are not alive in the first place.
Um, Mr. Paul, I think now might be a good time for me to let you know that you have been speaking to an android for the last 20 minutes.
What do you mean?
When I'm an android.
I've been working with androids my whole life. I think I would be able to tell if I'm speaking to an android. Thank you very much.
I'm from Tanzania, where we have different more advanced types and where androids are completely assimilated into society.
So you mean to tell me that you can email me further questions?
Well, that didn't go as bad as I thought. I mean, we didn't have the chance to thank Mr. Pearl, but it was a very interesting discussion. Um, yeah, I don't really know what to tell you guys. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment to the comment section what you want me to speak about in next week's video. Love you guys. Be safe. Bye.